Mexico
Man, that's some BS.
Boots on the ground. Mexico does not want the United States to send soldiers. And she also says that all operations from their planning onwards are the responsibility of the Mexican federal forces. Now, authorities, again, were tracking his girlfriends in order to find him, and they...
It won't let me come back to this live. I opened up a new one titled Yoga. Oops, I didn't mean to close it out.
Intelligence that it shared with Mexican authorities, tactics to essentially hinder any of the actions taken by local law enforcement or the military in Mexico. So let me fill in the blanks here, because early on Sunday, a team of elite Mexican Army and National Guard Special Operations soldiers descended on the community of Tapalpa in western Mexico, where El Mencho, as he's called, he's the head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, remained holed up after his girlfriend left. So basically, the U.S. was part of this operation. We didn't have boots on the ground, but the U.S. had gathered intelligence that it shared with Mexican authorities so they could essentially trail El Mencho, okay, this cartel leader. And when they found him, he basically was in like a more remote part of Mexico. They followed his girlfriend, who went to go visit him there. And then at that point, the operation was carried out, okay? So El Mencho was a significant player, a top dog, if you will, when it came to drug trafficking. The United States, which had a $15 million bounty on him, had shared intelligence with Mexico in order to make this happen. Mexico was facing a lot of pressure from the Trump administration to do something about the cartel violence. And U.S. officials said that the newly created U.S. Joint Interagency Task Force Counter Cartel helped with this mission. But again, no boots on the ground. That's what the president of Mexico, Sheinbaum, wanted to avoid. Now, the task force was specifically created to dismantle drug cartel networks. The president of Mexico made it clear that not only are there no boots on the ground, Mexico does not want the United States to send soldiers. And she also says that all operations from their planning onwards are the responsibility of the Mexican federal forces. Now, authorities, again, were tracking his girlfriends in order to find him, and they chased him and his bodyguards into the woods after they had located him. A battle had ensued, and from what we're learning from these reports, the bodyguards had 2 rocket launchers, and they fired them onto the Mexican troops. In the end, 8 people were killed in the fighting, including El Mencho and 2 of his bodyguards. But dozens of people have been killed since that whole operation took place.
They were using fire.
The cartel responded by,
what is it called? Fire throwers? Flamethrowers? At people. The person who I'm house sitting for right now, she said that they had to shelter in place. And there were people that were just being like taken out.
Including a pregnant woman. A top financial operator.
Don't be weird about my feet, please.
Oseguera was also killed in a gunfight at a nearby town as he attempted to flee in a car Sunday. The cartel operative was offering rewards of 20,000 pesos, around $1,200, for the death of any Mexican soldier involved in the operation. Now, a common tactic that the cartel members use in order to kind of stop or hinder any type of operation being carried out by the military or law enforcement is they'll like set cars, trucks, various things on fire in the middle of the roads to essentially make it difficult for movement for the military. And so you will see a lot of videos of various fires on roads all across Mexico. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the fact that, you know, under the former Mexican president, Obrador, he at one point had captured El Chapo's son, but then let him go because violence, similar to what we're seeing in Mexico right now, had broken out. And in previous efforts to dismantle these cartels, under Calderon, for instance, the violence was so bad that I think it's kind of informed politicians in Mexico to not try to fight the cartels. But I don't think that's a good option either. So I don't really know what the solution is, Jake, because the cartels are a problem, and they do victimize local populations in Mexico. They extort them, they extort their businesses. It's an absolute disaster.
So I'm going to give you all my analysis, then I'm going to say something startling, because it'll be fun. Okay, so first of all, you're right overall. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. The cartels are out of control. You got to do something about it. But the minute you start to do something about it, you get even more violence. First, let's be fair. Hey, look, the CIA did something. And kind of in America's interest. That hasn't happened in, like, maybe ever. Picture this. It's midnight. You're in bed. Shopping cart full on Shop TYT. But your wallet's on the other side of the room. Oh, no! You don't want to get up. Nobody wants to get up. Oh, then you see the purple Shop Pay button, which has your payment and shipping information saved and ready to go. The day is saved. That seamless checkout experience is all thanks to Shopify, which makes buying your next piece of TYT merch a breeze. Shopify is the platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify gives you that leg up on the competition with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand's unique style. Tackle all those essential tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics, and expand your brand reach with built-in marketing and email tools. And I already mentioned that awesome purple Shop Pay button. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. See fewer carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TYT. Go to shopify.com/TYT. That's shopify.com/TYT. I'm kind of shocked that the CIA was confident enough and awake enough. And they did something not related to Israel. All of that is shocking. So I have given credit where credit is due there. Secondly,
this one move will unlock your hips like you wouldn't believe.
To dealing drugs in this
Have to
country,
try to keep your butt in the same place, which is
than
difficult.
Venezuela in its entirety. So at least there's more logic in going after this cartel as opposed to the government of Venezuela, which is more about oil and shockingly, weirdly, somewhat about Israel than it is about this. But this has nothing to do with any of that other parts of the world. This is just about the cartels. And so I get it. It's more pertinent to us, and there's some upsides to taking this guy out for sure. So then why is this even a question? Because there's three different sets of violence that happens once you take out one of these cartel leaders, okay? Number one, they retaliate because they don't want there to be a perception that they've lost their hold on power. A lot of the ways that they do extortion is everyone gives them money because they think they're in charge. The government cannot protect them. If the people start to believe the government can protect them, then the cartels will lose a tremendous amount of power. So they want to strike back so forcefully that it provides a disincentive for the government to act so they can hold on to their power. Number two, leaders within the cartel, after the leaders toppled, then fight amongst themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
And that creates an enormous amount of violence. Number three, the other cartels, sensing that they can grab territory, attack the weakened cartel. And then that leads to even more violence. So you've got this triple damages here when you attack a leader of a cartel. So the violence is almost unavoidable. But if you use that logic forever, then you'll never do anything about the cartels. So here comes the startling statement. I don't know what to do.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. The reason why the cartels are as powerful as they are is because there is demand for what they want to supply, which is the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you deal with why there is a hunger in the United States for these drugs, we're going to continue having this problem. Because make no mistake about it, Mexico has taken out, the U.S. has taken out other cartel leaders in the past, and cartels continue to be a huge problem. The idea that you just take out a leader and then problem solved is like one of the most ridiculous claims in the world. So just real quick, I want to give you the details about what I mentioned in regard to, Manuel Lopez Obrador, what happened under his watch. That was the previous Mexican president. Because I mentioned
on my hair.
He captured El Chapo's son, and then he decided to let the son go. Security forces briefly captured Ovidio Guzman, only to let him go hours later the security forces were overwhelmed by cartel forces. Quote, so as not to put the population at risk, I ordered that this operation be stopped and that this alleged criminal be released. That's what the president said. That was in 2020. Now, going back to the other leaders, as I mentioned earlier, former Mexican President Felipe Calderón in 2006, as soon as he was, in office, decided to launch a war against the cartels. And you want to know something? He was actually successful in taking out several of the cartel leaders. Within 2 months, around 20,000 troops were involved in operations across the country, which initially attracted widespread support from communities tired of gun battles and cartel violence. But between 2006 and 2016, 20,000 people were killed in Mexico, murdered as a result of this cartel violence tied to the drug war. And you had, another instance in 2014 where 43 trainee teachers disappeared and are presumed to be killed after they were attacked by corrupt police officers and handed over to drug cartel members. So the problem within Mexico is the corruption when it comes to the law enforcement and when it comes to the military. Mexico does need to get a handle on that. And here in the United States, what we need to get a handle on is the misery that Americans find themselves in because we don't have a government that represents us. And that's not a knock on Republicans only. That is a knock on all politicians that have abandoned the American people, use the office of, either their congressional offices or the office of the presidency for their own enrichment, not because they want to be public servants. Americans are struggling. People don't turn to fentanyl because they're like, ooh, I'm bored. I'm gonna take a drug that's killing a ton of people in my country. They do it because they are absolutely miserable. Because in this country right now, I don't know what there is to look forward to. There's no hope. People don't feel like they have anything to look forward to. You need to deal with that. Killing cartel leaders might feel good. It might feel justified. But at the end of the day, it doesn't actually solve the underlying issue here.
Yeah. No, look, I'm not going to trust any politician just in a blanket way. But Claudia Sheinbaum is pretty smart and
remember her name, Sheinbaum. Who is she working for? They're sitting here saying, at least the Mexican president's doing something for her own country. Blah, blah, blah. Hello? She's an Israeli dual citizen.
So why did she do it now? Because Trump's been putting tremendous pressure on them to do something about the cartels. Sheinbaum was hesitant to do it because it upsets the status quo. The Olympics are the World Cup are around the corner, mainly the World Cup in this case. And so, the World Cup's going to actually be in Mexico. And so she was worried about 4 months from the World Cup, we're going to start this madness, right? And she got pushed into it. But to be fair, again, you should do something about the cartels. I don't know if this was the right time. I'm going to trust Sheinbaum's judgment a little bit on this. And so this is among the less offensive things that Trump has done because those are real issues in Mexico.
Trump was threatening boots on the ground in Mexico. Sheinbaum does not want boots on the ground in Mexico, so she did this to prevent U.S. boots on the ground in Mexico. And let me just note that 25 of the 37 drug traffickers on Calderon's
we can't be weird like that, okay? Sorry.
Or jailed. Cartels are still a huge problem in Mexico.
I'm sorry. You gotta get rid of you guys. I can't be having no perverts in here. That's weird.
So over the last couple of years, the Mexican authorities have confiscated 23,000 weapons from the drug cartels in Mexico. 80% of them come from the United States.
Not quite sure what you mean, Nate Clark.
Complaining about them exporting drugs here, fair. We're exporting guns over there, and it's literally killing them. But of course, we don't block it because the gun manufacturers are corporations that give money to politicians. So while you're not looking, they say, oh, Second Amendment, and yeah, that's true for us, but they're also exporting a lot of those weapons to create chaos on our southern border. We could get that under control, but we don't have the political will because of the legalized bribery in this country. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.
All right. Laundry's done.
Today, Peter Mendelsohn, the
Kitty.
former UK ambassador to the United States, States was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in
That's what I'm
public
trying to
office.
do. All right, but then
And
he's
thanks to the
see, Jamie, that's exactly, and that's why it's so important for us as people to remember that it's not us versus each other, it's them versus us. We're just regular people just doing what we think is right, you know? Like, we were trying to use our vote to do something that we thought was right. I mean, I didn't vote, so I didn't vote for Trump, but that's why Trump got voted for, was because people were hopeful that he would do something different, that things would be different, that he would, do right by us. And I almost bought into it as well, only for a fucking couple of days though. Right exactly around the time that I started thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe Trump won't be so bad. Like, maybe he'll actually do, good, because he's saying all the things that, that I want to hear and that lots of people want to hear. But as it turns out, he was doing that thing politicians do. He was lying. We got to keep in mind that anyone who feels the need to go into politics in general is probably a sociopath, probably has narcissistic tendencies, and, it's the type of person that is called to political office is not the kind of person, that is a regular, everyday guy like you and me. We gotta stop looking at each other like, oh, you voted for this, you voted for this. No, we didn't. Nobody voted for this, except for the Zionists. What the people who voted for Trump voted for was all of the things that he was saying that he was going to do. No more war. He was going to end the war in Palestine with Israel. He was going to stop all this shit, stop all the crap going on between Russia and Ukraine, like day one. And he's like, oh, I don't know why Biden bombed Yemen. You could have just picked up the phone and called them. Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. So it's just, we got to understand that our fellow man, our regular schmegular human beings, just like you and me, were bamboozled. And because they were bamboozled, this is the results that we have. But everybody was bamboozled. I mean, people were actually going to vote for Kamala, and nobody chose Kamala. They just put her there. Like, nobody voted for Kamala in the primary. They just were like, here, this is your option. And like, what were we supposed to do? Vote for her? Come on. She's terrible.
Part of the process here, there's a lot that's missing in terms of the parts of the puzzle. There's parts that we know is Epstein would ask for favors back after he did something for these folks, right? Either gave them a favor, like the girls, etc., or after they had the girls, use blackmail on them. But it's clear throughout all the Epstein
Gotta stop blaming each other for the stuff that the politicians in power are doing. Because nobody voted for this crap. Nobody. Cut. Actually, I don't want to do. So hot. Like half hot. I've almost fallen in the washing machine more times than I care to count. Look at that fire. Roasting. Feels so nice and toasty warm. You did hear a kitty. Meow. She's out and about here somewhere. With Shopify and the Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TYT. Go to shopify.com/TYT. That's shopify.com/TYT. Yeah. Which is great. That's what you should do in a fair and just society. I'm not saying the UK is perfect, but the fact that the king's brother got arrested is a pretty big deal, especially when you juxtapose what's happening in the UK with what's not happening at all here in the United States. Darren, and I want to be clear, like, you know, it is time for that. At least based on what you see in the exchanges they have in the Epstein files. I didn't know this. I learned it today, but Nate, are you jealous? Is gay, and I don't see a lot here. Are you jealous that I have people who love and trust me with they trust me with their home, and they allow me to come here and shower and use their washing machine in exchange for house sitting? Are you jealous? I'm sorry. I wish that you could find that for yourself. All you have to do is be a good person. But after he was done with his sentence, he has this email exchange with Mendelsohn. So Mendelsohn writes on July 22nd, 2009, how is Freeman feeling? And Epstein responds the way you would expect him to respond, in a disgusting way. She feels fresh, firm, and creamy. And they continue to have a relationship, full well knowing almost all the emails joke around about how Epstein likes young girls. Not smoking. It is a log cabin. Yes. Kind of. I mean, it was made from logs. It's not loggy on the outside, though. But all of the wood in this house, there were trees here. And when they built this house, they cut down the trees, and then they used every bit of wood that you see is a tree that was here when they built the house. I can China vape in the house all I want. Thank you. Am I not reading the comments right now? It must be tough not knowing your ass from your elbow. All right. And that overwhelming mountain of evidence that this was to help Israel, our media ignores it, goes, I can't see it. Which then goes, okay, that means the government and the media are compromised. This is absurd. That's why, hey guys, how can you tell who's the conspiracy theorist and who's telling the truth? Well, there's a very easy way. We all know, and the government now, everyone acknowledges, media, government, they all acknowledge, yeah, there were 1,200 victims. And have any of the people that did that been prosecuted? In the U.S., no. In the U.S., other than Epstein and Maxwell, and Epstein was killed in prison. He had 3 broken parts in his neck, which does not happen in a suicide. One of the top pathologists said it was very likely. Oh yeah, I can't wait to take a shower. Suicide. And then, by the way, the Jean-Luc Brunel, also killed in a prison in France after he was caught in co-conspirator. Maxwell was very no one else has been prosecuted. So now you know for certain that the government is not telling the truth, and then the media is covering it up, because otherwise we would have all the prosecutions you're seeing in the UK and across the world. Even that's not that many, but at least they're doing something. Whereas America is saying we definitely will protect the predators till the end of time. We knew they were raping the girls. We were okay with it. Oh my God, my hips just cracked. Protect the predators and not American children. So our
Our government is deeply compromised. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets a swings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on.
All right, I gotta get to work now.